I'm Andre The Beast Crayton, and welcome to another segment of the Andre The Beast Crayton Show with my co-host, Jordan, and our great celebrity guest should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame, Mr. Dallas Williams. Dallas, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Dallas, you got a great, interesting story. Naturally, the show is about beast, being a beast, moving forward, taking positives into keeping everything positive and getting rid of the negativity. And you came right out of high school, out of Brooklyn, into the major leagues. What was that like?
Well, actually, after I was drafted, you have to go through the minor leagues. So I persevered in the minor leagues for 6 seasons before I got a chance to go to the big leagues. So going through the minor leagues was my college days. So that's how you go through the process of trying to reach the major leagues. Some guys are lucky to get there earlier than others.
So the minor league, what team was it?
Well, about 7 of them. You want me to name them all?
If you can, yeah.
Well, I started with Bluefield Orioles, and I went to Miami, Charlotte, Rochester, and then I got to Baltimore after that.
What was the most impacted part of that journey with the minors before you got there that you remember?
Well, just the whole process of going through the minor leagues. You had all kind of different cultures that you had to deal with, different situations. I was in Bluefield, West Virginia, and that wasn't, one of the hippest places to be in 1976. But, going through the hardships of minor league baseball was a challenge in itself. So I just did what everyone else did, just did my best to try to get to the big leagues.
What was it like growing up in Brooklyn? Stickball?
Absolutely, the greatest city in the world, Brooklyn, New York. I've had a lot of memories, fond memories of New York. Haven't been back there in a while, but certain relatives are still there, so we think about New York a lot.
The greatest city in the world?
Absolutely.
You sure it's not Indianapolis, Indiana?
Well, sorry, no, but no. No.
So you played stickball and stuff, and you mentioned about your grandfather being a major impact on you because you got started by watching baseball with your grandfather. Take me down that road.
Yes, well, we had one TV in the house, as you might remember those days.
Black and white.
And my family was, I grew up in a family of 10 brothers and sisters.
Well, we had 15.
It was oh really? Okay,
15,
so
yeah.
It was 12 of us plus my grandfather in the Kiwanis projects in Brooklyn, New York. So we didn't get too many chances of watching what we wanted to watch. So my grandfather kind of was the matriarch of the house, and he wanted to watch baseball, and that's how we got interested. My brother and a couple of my brothers and my sisters, as a matter of fact, enjoyed watching the Mets many times.
So with that said, what was it really like growing up in there playing stickball? Did you have idols that you idolized back then?
Yeah, I'll tell you a quick story. We were playing stickball in the middle of the street, where you played and used the Suez bases, 2 bases, second base, third base, and all the way back home. And we're playing, and a car pulls up, and out jumps Willie Mays.
Wow!
And plays stickball with us for about 20 minutes. So that was a great impact on me, and obviously watching him be one of the greatest baseball players that ever lived. That was a big impact on my baseball career. It made me want to push to get as high as he did.
Did he share any knowledge with you or any motivational speeches to you guys?
No, I can't remember him doing that, but all I can remember is him saying just play your best and work hard and try to reach your goals every day. So that's the way I lived and tried to do that.
What did you have to do to top out other people?
Well, I mean, I guess talent has a lot to do with it. So I was fortunate enough to be around some good teachers in my adolescent years. My brother, who's passed on now, was a baseball player as well, and he was a big influence on my life as well. So he really stayed on me. And
who did he play for?
He was just an amateur player. Played in high school, boys high school. He was a big impact to allow me to get to the places where I had to go. He took me to a lot of the places. So I would say that was one of the biggest things that I remember, is him pushing me that way.
You got a question?
No.
Tell me about the Cincinnati Reds.
Okay, well, I was traded to the Reds from the Orioles in 1982, and I spent actually the 82 season and the 83 season here in Indianapolis for the Indians, and went up to Cincinnati towards the end of the season. Didn't spend that much time there, but got to play with Johnny Bench and a couple other good guys, Nick Osaski and Ron Oster, guys that I talked to today. So
let's go back. Let's talk about Johnny Bench. You know things that we don't know.
Well, I mean, all I know is he's a great he was a great baseball player, and that other stuff, But I tell you what, he was a great teammate. Took the time to talk to you and answer any questions you might have had for him. He was always there for the guys, and that's what I remember. And I'm sure the same feelings are felt by the guys that played with him.
So you was with the Orioles.
Yes, that was my first team that I got to the big leagues with, and the manager I played for was Earl Weaver. I don't know if you remember that name, but one of the greatest managers that ever managed in baseball. So Brooks Robinson, Frank Robinson was around. They were coaches when I was coming up, and I had a lot of dealings with those guys. Eddie Murray, Jim Palmer.
Okay,
so I was around some pretty good people.
Now, what position did you actually play? Did you play several positions?
I played all three outfield positions.
Wow, you're that good.
Yeah, well, I was fast.
So, is that considered the Cy Young winner or something like that?
No.
What's the outfield award?
Outfield would be MVP. There's no Cy Young for pitching.
So,
and there's no Willie Mays award for the best outfield or anything like that. But
have you gotten close to getting that MVP?
I got the MVP twice in AAA, though, not in the big leagues. I would have had a lot more longer career in the big leagues had I won the MVP there.
So after your stay with the baseball, with the major leagues, what pathway did you go? I know you're teaching and stuff, and you're teaching some of the greats. Do we got the picture of Michael Jordan and stuff? Tell us about your time working with Michael Jordan. We got a picture of Michael. That's you and Michael right there. What was that like working with him? That's when he
looks so young.
That's when he came over from baseball, right? He was doing two sport. What was that like?
No, he actually came that year. I can't really recall what year it was, but the year he played minor league baseball, I was the base running and outfield instructor for the White Sox in the White Sox organization, and spent a lot of time with him because he was an outfielder and he ran the bases. So I tell you, he was a great guy, good baseball player. Not as good as he was in basketball because he didn't put the time in, but I thought had he played baseball as a kid and took it as serious as basketball, he probably would have been a good Major League Baseball player.
Did you share that with him?
No, other people did that for him. He didn't need me to give him any more praises than he got. But there were so many people around him all the time that it was a challenge just to get him to work because he was requested so many times for interviews and different things that it was really difficult to get things done with him.
Who were some of the other greats that you worked with over the years?
The work that I worked with, I don't know. I worked with Frank Thomas.
Well, I like Frank Thomas. The Big Hurt.
Sammy Sosa.
I like Sammy Sosa.
Yeah, those guys with the White Sox organization. That was the time with the White Sox. But Todd Helton with the Rockies, Larry Walker, obviously Nomar Garciaparra and Manny Ramirez, Pedro Martinez. I was around all those guys, so it was a lot of fun being around those guys.
So I'm taking all the questions. Jordan, you got anything else?
Well, I'm just letting you ride with us.
Okay. So tell me what drives you. What was it? What was the motivating factor that pushed you to where you're at? I mean, because like you said, coming from Brooklyn, we're basically brothers. I grew up around the Brooklyn area. Psych. We know it was kind of hard growing up in Brooklyn, but what was your driving force? What kept you in beast mode?
You know what? One thing that I can remember as a kid was where we grew up in South Brooklyn. It was a diverse neighborhood. It was blacks, Italians, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans. So we all had the propensity to try to be better than each other. So that's what pushed me. There was a challenge every day, not only in baseball but basketball, football. So that kind of led me to have the attitude that I wanted to be better than everyone, and got me to where I was able to sign a professional contract. So that would be my number one thought of what drove me.
How did your bride handle it through all of these avenues?
Well, it was tough. I've been married for 36 years, so she had to endure some tough times, especially me being away while the kids were growing up, and it was a challenge for her. But she was Teal did a good job in raising my kids. And
How many children do you have?
Two. Dallas and Dior, who Dior lives here. Dallas lives in Georgia, as a matter of fact, in Douglasville.
Oh, I know where that is.
So, yeah, my wife, she's done a great job, continues to be a great person, and we're enjoying each other a little bit more than she probably would want now with baseball not happening. I'm home every day, so I don't know how she's really feeling right now.
So how has the impact of the corona and all the racial tension affected you in general in your career and moving forward? How are you basically trying to stay positive and move forward?
You know what? It's really sad. I mean, as far as baseball, it's obviously a devastating blow to be told that you're not going to have a season. So a lot of people were impacted financially and mentally as well. You know, there's a lot of guys that don't do anything but baseball, and me being one of them. Actually, at this point, all I do is coach and instruct baseball. But it's been a challenge. But you think of something to do and you just move on and just try to be the best you can be at it. As far as this stuff, this racial tension, it's really sad. It really breaks my heart to see, all the problems that we're having as a nation, and we need to clean it up. Whichever way, we need to clean it up.
Well, it had to be different because that's like you just said. You grew up in a diversified neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
and to see what's going on now has to be like, why can't people just get along and get past all of this nonsense? What was one of your lowest moments that you can remember and share with the viewers, the listening viewers?
Well, actually, one of my lowest moments was being sent back down as a coach to coach in the rookie leagues, where I was like advancing to AAA and AAA. Then, they made some changes and sent me all the way back down to the minor league, the lowest level, because of whatever reason, I don't know. But that was one of my lowest levels, lowest points in my life. But, come to think of it, in baseball, there wasn't too many low levels because you had low points in my life because we had so many other good times where it kind of outweighs that baseball stuff. There's so many other problems in life that shouldn't even have me mention that low point. But
how did you bounce back? How did you bounce back from that when that struck you? What did you do differently?
Well, I didn't do anything different. I worked harder and just did what I was doing all my life. And Buddy Bell called me and told me that he's going to take me as a coach with him to the Colorado Rockies, where I spent 3 seasons as the first base coach there. So I went from the lowest point to the highest point in a matter of months.
Wow.
So, yeah.
What was it like with the Rockies?
Beautiful. I mean, there's no bad place in the big leagues, trust me.
Really?
Every city you go to, obviously you're going to L.A. and New York and Atlanta and Cincinnati and all the places. So there was there were no 1-star hotels in the big leagues.
So did I read right? Did you do any baseball in Cleveland?
I worked for the Indians. My first, actually, you know what? I failed to mention that my first coaching job was in the Cleveland organization. Okay. Never made it there as a big league coach, but I was in the organization in the minor league.
That's the first baseball game I ever attended was in Cleveland, and I guess where you sit by the dugouts.
Mm-hmm.
And I was clearly overdressed because I'd never been to a baseball game. And I'm looking at everybody, and I'm like, man, I'm like really overdressed here. And I remember the one thing outside of being overdressed, I was like, damn, that grass sure looks nice. I mean, it's like beautifully manicured and stuff. But anyway, you have 2 boys, correct?
No, boy and a girl.
A boy and a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Have your son showed any interest in pursuing baseball? What do your kids do?
Well, my son's actually 35 now, but he did play a couple years of minor league baseball in the White Sox organization. He obviously followed me around, and I tried to take him with me as many times as I can, as much as I could, and he spent a lot of time on the field, and he was good enough to get to the minor leagues, but not talented enough to get past A-ball. So
how hard is it to actually make the transition, and what, as a coach, what do you look for in players to get to the next level? How do you evaluate with so many.
I haven't been in that position to have to evaluate a guy to say whether he's going to go to the next level or anything. I just work with him in my area, which was hitting and base running and outfield play. I just worked with him until they felt that they didn't want to work anymore. And I said I did my part to help you. Now the rest is up to you. Obviously, you can't swing for them, you can't run for them, so it's up to them to get as far as they want to get with the work that they put in.
Is there some type of trait that people need to learn, baseball guys? If you had to give advice to someone that's coming up in the baseball and they want to pursue that career, what kind of advice would you give them? What steps would you have them take to prepare for the transition, or to even consider going into the next level?
Well, I tell every player, just try to be better than the next guy. So you see a guy that you like, you say he's a pretty good player. Can you be better than him? What do you need to do to get to that level? And that's when the work has to begin. You have to think that there's someone always better than you, because you'll keep working. If you think that you're the best, then you're not going to get anywhere.
Who was the most powerful baseball player you've ever came in contact with during your times of playing?
Well, Eddie Murray was probably one of the greatest hitters I've seen up close playing with him in Baltimore. He was obviously a Hall of Famer now and a switch hitting first baseman. But, in the major leagues, there's so many guys. It's really hard to say that. I mean,
really?
They say who's the greatest player. I can name 10 guys and say that they were the greatest players. So it's really hard to pick out one guy. His favorites you can, but the best, that's hard to say.
What makes Sammy Sosa and the Big Hurt and those guys different in your opinion? What made them so unique about the game?
Well, first of all, they were just extremely talented.
Okay.
Both of them, and Mark McGwire and Canseco and Jeter. Those guys were talented, and they had the ability to play, and got the opportunity to play professional baseball. Where you have a lot of guys that don't get the chance because they might be in an area where they're not scouted. There's a lot of guys that I know that, man, this guy should have played professional baseball. But
have you ran into people like that? Somebody in particular that you was
yeah.
like, wow. And what did you do to? Did you help them advance, or you just was like, what's the procedure when you see somebody that's got that kind of talent?
Well, I'll give you an example. Juan Pierre was an outfielder in the Colorado organization who nobody thought of. They thought too much of him. Little skinny left-handed outfielder who just outworked everyone every day. He was the first one at the ballpark, last one to leave, ended up getting 12, 13 years in the major leagues and made a good future for himself as far as retirement. So, there's not one step that you tell a guy to take. You just say, hey, go through the game of baseball just like you're going through life. If you want to be as good as you can be, then you're going to work your butt off to get there.
When you're out in public, do people recognize who you are?
Only in Mexico.
Why Mexico?
Well, I mean, Mexico, they just eat and breathe baseball. But I coached in Taiwan, managed in Taiwan, and it was pretty.
Heck, every time I'm texting you, you're in Taiwan.
Yeah, I was in Taiwan, and they're baseball fanatics as well. But here in the States, not so much. I mean, especially with my beard now, no one notices me.
So what are you doing now?
Well, I was actually in Mexico. Right now. I'm doing actually nothing. I'm helping my wife in the yard.
That's nice.
I've become a green thumb type of guy. So, I'm planting some trees and some flowers and just doing the honeydews around the house. That's about it.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
I need one of those.
Well, I don't know about great, but it's making her happy. So I guess I can't complain.
When you're in Taiwan, I remember a lot of times when we're texting back and forth on to social media, you're either like, Dre, I'm in Mexico, I'm in Taiwan. Is that because that's where the bulk of your business as a baseball person now, where you at, is centered around? Because naturally, I guess baseball is really big in those areas versus the United States. So is there more opportunities for you there, or you just decided that's where you need to be during this part of transition?
Well, every coach that coached or played in the United States wants to be here, and the opportunities wasn't there for me at that particular time. And I got a call from a guy who did some recruiting for the people in Taiwan and asked me would I be interested in going over there and coaching. I thought it would be a 1-year thing. It turned into a 5-year thing. So,
Wow.
I mean, I got the opportunity to go there, and it was a great experience. My wife got to go with me. My daughter came over, and it was something that I'm glad I did.
So what was the great experience over there that you encountered outside of the people?
Well, learning how to dive for lobster.
There you go.
No, but they're very interesting people. They're very regimental,
Okay.
and you see them doing the same thing over and over and over again, and they were interested in my life just as much as I was interested in theirs. So struck up some pretty good conversations with the ones that spoke English. So it was very interesting.
Can you speak a different language?
Did you pick up any Thai?
That was the toughest thing to do. I couldn't. Just a couple of words like ni hao, hello, and konnichiwa, good morning, and all that stuff. But as far as the dialogue, tough. So I stopped after the first week or so, saying I'm not going to do this.
So how do you communicate? You just write or something? You have a
No,
translator?
we had a translator with me 24 hours.
What was he gonna write? Like draw figurines and things?
I mean, he's got to be able to talk. I mean, where's the nearest restaurant?
Well,
where's
if he can't
McDonald's?
speak it, he doesn't know how to write it.
Yeah, I tell you what, writing it is even worse than speaking it. The little hieroglyphic.
I'm sure you just
signs
carried
and
around
everything.
Pictionary with you everywhere you went.
So
Google Translate.
So you had a translator with you all the time. What was that like?
Well, I mean, actually, it was okay. Sometimes you wanted to be away from everybody, and that's when you went in your room. And in Taiwan and in Korea, you live in a dorm with your team, so they're around you all the time. So it was no problem communicating. And
How did your
trying to
wife
get to
like
the-
that?
She didn't.
I wouldn't either.
No, she didn't. We did. Well, when we stayed in when we went on the road, we stayed in a hotel. So
Good.
she got a chance to get away, and
I think it would have been smelly, like all the guys just.
It's
they kept it
baseball.
pretty clean. They kept it pretty clean. So
Oh
Yeah.
goodness.
Never seen a baseball guy with a dirty uniform except for when it's raining outside. So out of the baseball world, you had to name 3 of your most favorite players. What would they be?
it'd be Willie Mays, Mickey Mantle, and probably Derek Jeter.
You left somebody out.
Andre The Beast Crayton.
Thank you.
Okay, that's number 4.
You played baseball?
Yeah, I played baseball. I was
Like when?
a Cy Young winner, nominee.
Really?
Yeah, for the Indianapolis Indians.
Right. Do you even know how to swing a bat?
Yeah. I was a great outfielder at one point in my life. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at least I'm considered one of the top 4, on his list, and that's what matters. So, Dallas, my question to you before we wrap up is if you had to leave a message to motivate the people that are listening to this podcast right now. Naturally, you had a great journey through the baseball, with your baseball career, and we're going through a lot. And this show is about inspiring and motivating people and taking the can'ts and turn them into the cans, which you have done. What would you say to the viewers to get them back in the beast mode to keep going through this series of turmoil?
I say never say that you can't. Always say that you can and you will. Because if you say you can't, you're already one step behind. I always tell my kids, even with the kids that I've instructed, through the years at my legacy baseball place, that, if you don't think that you can be better than anybody in the world, then you shouldn't be in here. So you got to think that you can and you will.
Tell me real quick before we leave. Tell me about your legacy baseball thing. What you did for the kids? Because when we first met years ago, I watched you do that. Tell me about that, and then tell me about maybe one of the kids or several kids that with your knowledge that you have seen advance and move forward in their career thanks to your teaching.
Okay, yeah. Legacy Baseball is a company that I started after I left the Sports Zone in Indianapolis, teaching baseball over there. I opened up my own place and stayed there from 2010 until I left to go to Taiwan. Then obviously I had to shut it down because I didn't have the time. But it gave me the chance to give back to the kids, and give them all I could to make them a better player. But one kid I have in mind, progressed through the baseball world is named Aubrey Major. He's from Indianapolis. He's going to Arizona now. Ooh. He's going to be a pretty good player. So he's but there's so many Dylan Peters, who pitched in the big leagues, hit with me before, and Conrad Greger, a couple of guys that played minor league baseball. So there's a whole Tucker Barnhart, who I spent some time with, who's a catcher for the Cincinnati Reds now. So there's been some guys that got a chance to play college baseball and lead the path to other things in their life because of working with me, and I enjoyed it just as much as they did.
Do you plan on restructuring the training facility if the coronavirus and things change? Because I'm pretty sure the listening viewers would love to have their kids under your tutelage.
You know what? I gave up the place on 96th Street because I didn't have a need for it at that point. But I do private lessons. People call me once in a while and email me and let me know that their kid needs some lessons, and I try to do it like that. Obviously, the facility is going to be a challenge to find place, but if there's a will, there's a way, and if they want to find some place, I can help them. So
how can the viewers reach you if they need your assistance? How can we share that information?
My email is dallaswill, DALLASWIL, @gmail.com. Just drop me an email, and I'll give you a call, and we'll see if we can make something happen.
That sounds great. You got any questions for the great Dallas Williams?
One thing I got to say, you talked about being in the Hall of Fame. I am in the Hall of Fame.
See? Bam!
Okay, but it's for playing in the longest game in history.
And what's that?
Oh, wow.
33 innings.
Oh, my.
Yeah, 33 innings. That's
who was that
AAA
against?
baseball. It was against the Pawtucket Red Sox. There's AAA in the International League. And the reason why I'm in the Hall of Fame is because I was actually 0 for 13 in that game.
I thought I was the only one that ever went 0 for 13.
I wish you would. That means I wouldn't get so much information and so much crap about it. But yeah, I was in the longest game in history.
Wow.
And Cal Ripken played in that game. Wade Boggs, Bruce Hurst, a host of big league players played in that game.
Wow. So and that put you in the Hall of Fame.
That's exciting.
So I'm
awesome.
Infamous.
Yeah, I'm like thrilled now. I mean, I thought it was just going to be a podcast with Dallas Williams. Okay, now it's a Hall of Famer.
All right.
Well, thank you, Dallas, for showing up. Please, viewers, reach out to Dallas. He's definitely a motivator. He definitely knows how to use the word beast and play it forward. Thanks for tuning into the podcast. I'd like to thank my host, Jordan, once again for keeping me in line. And you didn't ask a lot of questions. You sure there's not one more question you want to ask?
You were just a blabbermouth this time.
She asked a couple questions.
I asked a few, like when you ever took a breath, I got in there real quick. So I was being patient.
Okay, with that said, thank you for tuning in to this segment. Thanks, Dallas, for showing up, and tune in again for the next episode of the Andre The Beast Show.